Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to my channel. Uh, so I'm trying this at a different hour because I'm trying to get more audience, if that makes sense. Um, so today's uh um topic is creationists. The Bible does not preclude evolution, and it doesn't, unless you want to take it literally, which um to tell you the truth, nobody should take the Bible literally, um, because it's not literal. I mean, all you have to do is learn your history to figure that one out. But um, now, I gotta say this: creationists, for the most part, are not stupid. They just don't know. Okay, so please stop calling, if you are, which I'm sure nobody here is, but if you are, please stop calling creationists stupid. There's a difference between stupid and ignorant, okay? There are creationists out there who are stupid. Kent Hovind being one of them. Ken Ham being another one. But there's a difference, okay? And the difference is I'm not talking about the dictionary definition here. Hey, godless sewing, can you hear me? The difference between being stupid and being ignorant, and this is my own definition, okay? Um, this isn't a dictionary definition. You're not going to find it in the dictionary. Uh, but ignorance is okay. Ignorance can be fixed. This is one of my favorite quotes. And I don't know if somebody else came up with this or not. I kind of came up with it on my own. I'm not borrowing it from anybody, but somebody might have said it somewhere along the way. Um, so just to put that out there, um, ignorance can be fixed. Okay, stupidity can't. And the difference between these two is when you are ignorant, you don't know what you don't know. I know that's kind of a tautology. Let me see if I can explain that a little better. Um, when you are ignorant, you don't know. Um, for instance, if we're talking about evolution, okay, most creationists, and I was among those, okay, because I used to be a young earth creationist. Most creationists have no idea what evolution even teaches because they believe their leaders when they say um, something like evolution teaches um, you came from a rock. Okay, that's when a Kent Hovind. That's a Kent Hovindism, by the way. Um, so, um, so a lot of creationists will believe that because they're pastors and people they look up to, say that evolution teaches we come from rocks, which is not true, by the way. Anybody who's looked into the theory of evolution knows this. Um, that's just not true. Hey, Cryptomeria, how's it going? Um, but um, so and because of that, they think it's a stupid idea. I was there, okay? I I have to admit, I was there. I'm very truthful with people, you know, but um, you got to educate yourself. Don't believe somebody just because it's your pastor, okay? Or, even Richard Dawkins or, you know, um, uh, somebody you hold in high esteem. Don't believe them just because they're a person you hold in high esteem. Okay. Um, look into it for yourself. Um, and I may do a video teaching creationists how to do this because creationists don't know how to do this. And there's a reason creationists don't know how to do this. Okay. I'm going to get back to the stupid, ignorant thing. Just give me a minute. Um, creationists don't know how to do this kind of stuff because their leaders don't want them to know how to do this kind of stuff. Okay. Because if they ever learn to do this kind of stuff, then they're going to find out that their leaders have been lying to them. And that's the last thing the leaders want their sheeple to figure out. Because as long as their sheeple stay ignorant, then they can lead them by the nose. I'm sorry if this offends you. Okay, it's the truth. Ignorant people are easier to be led. It's the truth. If you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. Um, anyway, getting back to the stupid ignorant. Okay, so those are the ignorant. The ignorant are the people who don't know any better because, I call it they don't know what they don't know, which I explained. They kind of, um, they don't know because they're being kept in the dark, basically. All right. So that's ignorant. So stupid, totally separate thing. Kent Hovind, Ken Ham, um, Georgia Purdom, um, all those guys. They're stupid. And I have no argument, no regret in saying that they are stupid because, um, yeah, Cryptomeria. Um, so let's get into what I define as stupid, which isn't necessarily the dictionary definition of stupid. Um, okay, so my definition of stupid is when you know better. Okay, Kent Hovind knows that evolution does not teach that we come from rocks. He knows that. But he insists on believing it anyway. That is stupidity. Okay? And anybody who knows what the theory of evolution really teaches and decides to make a straw man out of it, they're stupid because they refuse to learn. They know what it is. And I'm not just talking about the theory of evolution, I'm talking about anything. Once you know what something is, but you refuse to acknowledge that that is what it is, that is, yes, Cryptomeria. Kent is the dino guy. He calls himself Dr. Dino, which don't even get me started. He doesn't have a doctorate, by the way. He doesn't have a doctorate. Just throwing that out there. He doesn't have a doctorate. By the way, I can't get sued for that because it's the truth. Okay. So anyway, all right. So that's what stupidity is. You know, when I'm defining terms, we're not going with the dictionary definition here. We're going with how I define things. Cryptomeria, you're giving him too much credit. He's not messed up. He's a sick fuck. Okay. So anyway, getting back to the topic about creationists, the Bible does not preclude evolution. Um, First of all, this is a pet peeve of mine. The Bible never says how old Earth is. You won't find it. There is not a verse that says, oh, by the way, Earth is 6,000 years old. It's not in there. Not in there. Um, but they want you to think it's in there. So let's figure out how they try to assign 6,000 years to the Earth. Okay. Well, most of you might know this. There was a guy in the 1600s, I believe. I may be off on that number, not quite sure. Um, I call them like it is, Cryptomary. I call it like it is. That's why my people love me so much, is I'm not afraid to call it like it is, right? So anyway, okay. So there was a guy back in the 1600s, I believe, by the name of Bishop Usher. By the way, yes, the guy was a bishop in the Catholic Church. And it kind of getting off on a tangent for a moment. It kind of bothers me that these people say that Catholics aren't Christians, but they are quite willing to take something the Catholics said when it suits their agenda. Go figure, right? So anyway, this guy named Bishop Usher, right? Bishop in the Catholic Church, he's like, I'm going to figure out how old Earth is. And remember, at this time, maybe a little, okay, I believe at this time the naturalists, because they weren't called geologists at this time, they were just called naturalists. And they pretty much did all the science put together. You know, this was back when science was pretty young, and you could do that, before it really was the way that you had to specialize in something. Um, So they were called naturalists back then. And most naturalists would accept the fact that Earth was very old. They didn't give a date of how old because they couldn't. And this is another thing that creationists will say, that they gave a date for the Earth back in the 1600s. No, they didn't. Hey, limited light. So anyway, so Bishop Usher decided he was going to figure out from the Bible how old Earth is, since there isn't a verse in the Bible saying, by the way, the Earth is so and so years old, right? So he comes up with a method, and he adds up um, the ages of people um, with when they had their like first son, okay, and then when that son had their first son, and blah 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 blah, and that's how he came up with about 6,000 years, right? But lo and behold, that doesn't work, um, for more reasons than one. Um, if you look at ancient Near Eastern literature, um, it's, it's hilarious if you look at this in context, especially if you look at the Sumerian kings lists, because the first Sumerian king will be listed as reigning like, I think, 10,000 years. Not quite sure on that. But it it's like, that it's like impossible, right? Because he didn't just live, this first Sumerian king, right? He didn't just live for 10,000 years, right? Which we all know is bunk. He reigned for 10,000 years. And like I said, I don't know if I have that correct or not. I do know it was in the thousands of years, okay? That much I do know. Um, and I'm going to be honest with you when I don't know quite, what the numbers are. I'm going to be honest with you, which, by the way, these creationists are never going to be honest with you. Okay. Um, so, um, so it was just common. It was a common practice back then to put your heroes down as living for long periods of time, even when it was impossible uh, for them to live that long. No Sumerian ever would have said, yeah, our first king reigned 10,000 years or however long it was. I mean, they're not going to say, um, they're not going to say that. Uh, That's stupid. That's absolutely asinine. Nobody would say that, but it's their heroes. And it was in the Near East at this time, it was common practice to do this. Okay. Now, Israel didn't come around until the Iron Age, okay? But they borrowed from these older traditions, which is why you find asinine years on Adam and, you know, uh, Cain and Seth and Enoch and all those other people, Methuselah. Um, so that's why you find asinine ages for these people. It's not because they lived that long, it's because that's just how literature was done in that day. It's plain and simple. And all you have to do to figure this out is to look at other literature from that time, or actually before that time, because Sumeria came way before Israel did, right? So did Elam and Assyria and all those places, Babylon, Egypt, all those places. You just have to look at the literature of that time. That's what was going on. And, you know, poor little old Israel would have been the odd man out if they hadn't have done that. So it's asinine to think that, it's just, Adam really lived 939 years. Well, first of all, I don't think Adam even existed. And second of all, no, even if Adam existed, he did not. Come on, let's be real here. So, okay. So, a second thing is, um, and I got to stop right here because I got to say something funny. Um, I find it absolutely hilarious that creationists say we think we came from rocks, which of course we don't. But, you know, creationists say, the evolutionists say we came from rocks, right? Think about this. Think about this. What is dust? Give you a minute to think about that. What is dust? Well, according to the creationists, there was no death before the fall of man. Um, so there wasn't like dead skin cells or anything to make up the dust. So what else would the dust be? I'll go ahead and answer that for you now. Rocks. Dust in that environment where there is no death would be nothing but pulverized rock. It's interesting that they project their faults onto what they consider the opposition. That's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. Of course, they always do that, so it's not so interesting after all. But I just thought that was hilarious and wanted to, point it out just in case nobody's. I'm sure somebody's figured this out before. Um, I may be smart, but I'm not that smart, right? Okay, so anyway, um, but uh, the creationists really don't use their brains, and that's by design. Um, because their leaders don't want them using their brains. Because if they ever did use their brains, they'd get out of creationism altogether. Okay. Um, because creationism has to, every time science finds something wrong with creationism has to make an ad hoc rationale, you know, like the space-time problem, right? Um, Russell Humphreys came up with this. It's not Kent Hovind, by the way. Kent Hovind just steals his shit from everybody else. Um, Russell Humphreys, I think was his name, came up with this, and he said that the starlight problem, talking about how um, things can appear to be very old because they're very far off, and the speed of light is a constant, right? Um, the starlight problem can be fixed by going to that verse in the Bible where it says that God stretched the heavens. All right. Well, that's an ad hoc explanation, right? We all know that. And it's a piss poor one, too. And why is it a piss poor one? Because if God stretched out the heavens, everything would appear to be blue shifted. But it's not. Everything is red shifted. And that is a really, really big problem for the creationists. And they don't even attempt an explanation at that. That's funny, limited light. That's funny. So anyway, um, I don't know. It just it doesn't make any sense to me after I got out of creationism, you know. Um and I I went from being a young earth creationist to being an old earth creationist to being atheistic evolution person to just now I'm an atheist. Or, I mean, if you want to be really, really gracious, you can put me in the deist category. But I don't believe there is a deistic God, so technically I'm an atheist. But I don't say there couldn't be a deistic God. I just don't believe there is a deistic God. Okay. So uh and maybe I'll get into deism at some other time. Yep. Yep, limited light. So anyway, so then you've got um but then you got a problem because not only do you have the starlight problem, which they really don't have an explanation for, because God stretching out the heavens is going to put even more problems on top of that, right? Okay, because everything would be blue shifted and not red shifted, and everything is red shifted. All right. So not only do we have the starlight problem, right? We have the dinosaur problem because there are feathers on dinosaurs, not the four-legged beast dinosaurs. I'm talking about the dromaeosaurs, um, some tyrannosaurs. Um, I think I said that correctly. Hey, the awoken one. So, anyway, so we got a problem there, right? Because we've got some dinosaurs that have feathers, and that's an intermediary step for dinosaurs um, becoming birds. Well, they didn't become birds. Birds are dinosaurs, but we're going to leave that one alone for right now. Um, because I don't feel like getting into it. That's not what this is about. Um, so, and another hilarious thing, and you gotta watch. I don't watch Kent Hovind, right? I just watch Logic's and other people's responses to Kent Hovind because I think they're funny, and I don't give Kent Hovind the time of day without listening to, their um, uh, logic or another person's rebuttal of them because they're so stupid. But I don't really give them the time of day, right? Unless I'm going to like Logic's channel. But one of the other hilarious things um, that Kent says, in addition to the starlight problem, um, is he says, I swear to God, I swear to God, this is what he says. If you don't believe me, go find it. It's there. You can find it on YouTube. Okay. But he says that Archaeopteryx is a fake fossil, that they found the fossil of a dinosaur and put feathers on it. And this is he actually stole this because Kent isn't smart enough to have any ideas of his own, right? I mean, he's just not. Um, he stole this from a paper in the 1980s, I think, that was in the British Journal of Photography about how um, chicken feathers were um, forged onto the fossil of a dinosaur to make Archaeopteryx. And if you want to see, I'm not going to go into it, but Logic has a wonderful rebuttal of that, and it's Kent Hovind. My name is Kent Hovind. I forget what episode it is, but it's called Fakeopteryx. Um, yeah, yeah. Mortimer is a smart cookie. I like Mortimer. So anyway, so at first Kent says, so Archaeopteryx is a faked fossil. I kid you not. I kid you not. In like the next few breaths or the next few sentences or whatnot, I swear to God, he says that Archaeopteryx is just a bird. Whoa, 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 wait a minute, Kent. You just said Archaeopteryx was a fake fossil. And now you're telling us it's just a bird? Make up your goddamn mind. I mean, I know you don't have a mind to make up, Kent, but come on. Do a little bit better. Okay. Don't, the least you can do is not, okay, by limited light, the least you can do is not like, trip yourself up, two sentences down the road. I mean, come on. Have a little more. I know you're not smart. Okay. I know you're not smart. I know you think you're smart, but you're not smart, okay? So, don't, even though you're not the brightest bulb in the pack, okay, you can at least have the decency not to contradict yourself 2 sentences down the road, okay? That's all I'm saying, okay? Um, but I think that's funny. Archaeopteryx is fake, but it's totally a bird. What? Um, ugh, yeah. I don't know how anybody can uh, take Kent seriously. I have no idea how anyone can take that motherfucker seriously, but they do. So, all right. Sorry about that tangent. Getting back onto the topic. Um, so we've gotten through the earth can't be 6,000 years due to the genealogies in the Bible, because the genealogies in the Bible are not correct. Hey, the awakened one, I call them like I see them. I'm like my grandpa that way. I don't pull any punches. Um, anyway, so you can't, so like I said, the figuring out how old the earth is through um adding up the genealogies of the Bible isn't going to work, right? Because they're not real genealogies, okay? They're just not, you know. And everybody who knows anything about ancient Near Eastern literature knows that. But the creationist leaders are hoping that you, their followers, don't know that. Because then that opens up another world of questions for you. And then you're going to go down the rabbit hole. And then you're going to find out that they've been lying to you. And I'm telling you the truth, okay? I'm telling you the truth. I don't have a horse in this game, okay? I don't get paid to tell you this shit, all right? They get paid to make you swallow all the horse shit that they've been making you swallow. Uh, they've got they got a real big ass in the game, okay? Because they're getting paid. And if you stop believing them, they stop getting paid. I don't get paid. I do not get paid to tell you this stuff. That doesn't mean that you should believe me just because I'm not getting paid to tell you the truth. That's not what I'm saying. All right? Find out for yourself. And I will do a I will do a an episode, a video on how to um how to research, because young earth creationists need to know how to research. Hey Lisa, um and that is something your leaders definitely do not want you to know, is how to research. So I'm definitely gonna do a video uh, teaching people the basics of research, you know, and I don't have access to databases anymore because I'm not in a university program anymore. However, Google Scholar is a great place to start, you know, on that kind of thing. Um, um, Now, there are papers you cannot get on Google Scholar. I will say that. But, um, you know, a lot of things you can. A lot of things you can get on Google Scholar, right? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. Um, when you dig into papers, they're going to be very technical. Okay. So, um, if you're a young earth creationist or even a creationist of any flavor, you know, you might want to start learning what technical terms are. Okay. Because these papers are very technical and they're not going to hold your hand. Okay. They're not going to say, this is what I mean by this. And that, I mean, I do that. Okay. But I'm a YouTuber and I'm trying to educate people, right? But when we go into the literature, they're not going to do that they, because these people that are doing these technical papers, they know that they are speaking to an audience, or rather, they're assuming that their audience is an audience of people who already know these terms. And so they're not going to hold your hand through this. So, you know, if you really want to dig into the literature, um, what you need to do is start educating yourself on the basics of scientific terms, and because scientific terms, and this is another thing creationists don't realize, scientific terms are not like regular terms. They're not vernacular. Scientific terms are very, very, very precise in their meaning. Very precise. And that's one thing that um, people who believe in evolution have a hard time with the creationists, because the creationists are saying, well, evolution's just a theory, just a theory, well, it's not just a theory, okay? Because in the vernacular, theory means just guess. It just means a hypothesis. That's not what theory means in science. A theory in science takes facts and laws and weaves them together into an explanation. Hey, Nevermore, I'm getting on to creationists for being lazy. I shouldn't say that. I'm not getting on to creationists for being lazy. They just don't know. They just don't know any better. They just don't know any better. Um, and that's why I'm on here. I'm trying to make people a little bit brighter, you know. Um, so anyway, but so my original premise was the Bible does not preclude evolution, and that is true. The Bible doesn't preclude evolution because the Bible never says how old the earth is. Now, I'm not, I don't believe the Bible, okay? I think it's just mythology. All right. And mythology is different from a fairy tale. Okay. Um, but the Bible is just mythology. No different than Greek mythology or anything else. It's just mythology, right? Okay. So, moving from that point forward, um, I don't believe the Bible, any of it. Okay. Because where it is correct, you can find that in secular sources, right? You can find that in secular sources. So, I don't believe any of the Bible except where it aligns with secular sources. And, um, you know, um, the Bible doesn't really align with secular sources all that well. What it does do is when we are in the when 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 the Bible writers are talking about the time that they are living in, they are correct, which is how we can piece together when these people lived. Okay. That's how we can piece together when these people lived because they are accurate when they lived or previous to when they lived. Okay. But um, not too far into the past. Like, they're not accurate from the beginning of the world. That's just, that's nonsense, right? Okay. So, anyway, um, I am going to do a video on uh, getting the, on how to do research. Again, I'm going to be using Google Scholar because I don't have access to the databases. Um, and by the way, the databases that I'm talking about, um, universities have them, but they have some databases, but not all databases, because that would be outrageously expensive. Um, but but if you're looking, and I'll put this on the video that I'm going to be doing about research. If you find a paper that you really, really, really want, one of the things you can do is you can go down to your university and log in as a guest and see if they have access to that paper, and then you can print it out. Um, that's one way to go around the paywalls. Another way to go around the paywalls is to contact the author, one of the authors of the paper that you're interested in, and see if he or she will give you access to the paper for free. That's another way around the paywall. Um, I don't agree with paywalls personally. Um, I understand to a certain extent why paywalls are there. It is expensive to get these research papers out, but I don't necessarily agree with the paywalls. So, so you know, don't get discouraged if you come across a paywall, okay? Because there are ways around it. There, there just are. So, um, anyway, I think I'm gonna get off. Um, if you would give a like to this stream or a dislike, I don't really care. Um, and make a comment and subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content. And please consider becoming a member. You can become a member for as little as 99 cents a month and join these wonderful people who are scrolling at the bottom of your screen. And speaking of members, um, I am going to be having my first members only live stream sometime soon. Not really sure. Members, let me know when is a good time for you because I'm pretty much open all the time. I take care of my dad here. Um, oh, Lisa, it's getting better, better and better every day. There you go, better and better every day. Um, so yeah, thank you for asking. Um, but yeah, so members, let me know um, when you're available for a live stream. I know that not everybody is going to be available at the same time, and I understand that. No big deal, right? Um, However, I do want to get at least two or three in there, and so hopefully we can do that. So let me know. Um, Kind of like I live in the Pacific. Um, Pacific. I think we're still in daylight. I don't know. Um, but anyway, so members, let me know when you are available. Give me like a window when you're available, and I'll do my best to try to accommodate as many as I can to do a members only live stream. And then we can do, whatever the fuck you want to do because you guys are my members and, you know, technically you're my bosses, right? So you get to pick. If you just want to fuck around, we can fuck around or whatever. But anyway, um, so I will see you guys later, and you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.